On this episode of China Uncensored, the China-UK relationship has gone nuclear. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Oh man, Chinese leader Xi Jinping just got done with an amazing tour of the United Kingdom. And believe me, it was way better than hanging out with that stick-in-the-mud Barack Obama.
Let's sample the delicate aroma of our fine wine.
Come on, put on your sunglasses because it's time to party with the British entourage. And then head to the pub to pound back a few brews with the Prime Minister. Yes, the old world knows how to throw an old school party. And like Chinese media said, it was a redder than red carpet welcome. And to celebrate Great Britain's new so-called golden era of relations with China, what better way than to ride with the Queen in her golden carriage? The Queen even gave Xi a tour of her personal collection of Chinese treasures.
Hello! How do you enjoy all the beautiful things we stole from your country? Sorry about the Opium Wars.
Anyway, the message was clear. Britain is now China's best friend and the most open country to Chinese investment, and also the least open to frank dialogue about human rights, judging by how British police kept all the protesters behind metal barriers like cattle, and how the government prevented reporters from having any meaningful access to the Chinese leader during his entire visit. And probably all of Britain's self-restraint, shall we say, impressed Xi Jinping, because he signed an extra $16 billion in trade deals compared to what was originally planned. Oh man, Li Ka-ching! The UK is raking it in! This worked out way better than the time in 2012 when David Cameron met with the Dalai Lama and China was all pissy. I mean, what can the Dalai Lama do for you? Inner peace? Yeah, whatever. And Cameron made a very good point. The stronger our economic, trading, business, and other partnerships, the stronger our relationship and the more able we are to have the necessary and frank discussions about other issues. It's the same logic former U.S. President Bill Clinton used back in 2000 when he pushed to open up permanent trade relations with China. And look how well that worked out. I mean, China's human rights situation is the best it's been in... oh, wow. That bar is pretty low. But anyway, the biggest deal to come out of this new golden era of relations is the announcement that China will invest a 30% stake in the construction of a nuclear reactor at England's Hinkley Point power station. Is letting China build a nuclear reactor in the UK a good idea? Some people don't think so. For example, Britain's own intelligence agents. There seems to be a concern that allowing a Chinese state-owned company to work on the nuclear reactor could give them an opportunity to insert backdoor traps into the technology. That could allow the Chinese regime to shut down the reactor in the event that the UK decides to, hurt the feelings of the Chinese people by, say, acknowledging Taiwanese independence. According to an anonymous security source quoted by The Times, there is a big division between the money men and the security side. The Treasury is in the lead and it isn't listening to anyone. They see China as an opportunity, but we see the threat. There's also a general concern from economists that while the UK is buying up everything China has to offer, there's not much money flowing the other way. But perhaps most disconcerting is how this affects the West's ability to deal with the Chinese regime. Up until now, the West has been able to collectively bargain with China, albeit not with overwhelming success. They pressure China to, for example, follow international law, improve human rights, etc. But now the UK has just sent the message that we won't even raise those concerns if the price is right. So other countries may start to feel pressure to do the same. This also affects the US's ability to get the UK support in its dealings with China. I mean, what happened to the good old days when the UK would follow whatever harebrained scheme America came up with? Also, it might not be wise for the UK to lean too hard on a country that could face a major economic crash or regime-toppling political instability. And both of those could easily happen within the next decade. And when that happens, all that glitters might not be gold in the golden age of UK-China relations. So what do you think? How many billions of dollars would you require in exchange for letting China build a nuclear reactor in your backyard? Leave your comments below, and if you like this episode, please consider taking a moment to contribute to the China Uncensored Patreon campaign. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time. China has the largest network of high-speed rails in the world and plans to double its size by 2020. China is also in talks to build or sell high-speed trains in more than 20 countries. Chinese car manufacturers are looking to play the proverbial Thomas Edison to the Tesla car company. Meet Le Car. No, I'm not speaking French. Le in Chinese means happy.